Welcome to Solar Age, the podcast that shines a light on the path to a brighter, more sustainable future. Join us as we explore the transformative power of technology in creating a solar-punk world.
Hey Solarpunks, welcome back to Solar Age. Today we're taking a deep dive into a question that's been buzzing around the Solarpunk community.
Oh, yeah.
Can we power the world with just rooftop solar?
Ooh, that's a big one.
It is. And to help us unpack this, we're turning to some thought-provoking articles and videos from Matt Farrell over at Undecided.
Love his work. Always makes you think.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. One of the things Farrell really highlights is this tension between the urgent need for renewable energy.
Right, gotta get off fossil fuels.
Yeah, and the sometimes unexpected environmental impact of those massive solar farms we're seeing pop up.
Yeah, when you think about renewables, you think clean and green.
Exactly.
But sometimes the reality is a little more complicated. Take water usage, for example.
Oh, that's a good point.
These solar farms, especially in sunny, arid regions.
Which is where you'd want them, right?
Exactly. They can guzzle thousands of acre-feet of water. Not exactly the sustainable solution we're aiming for.
No, not quite. And it's not just water either. Farrell brings up the case of the Aratina Solar Center in California,
Oh, I read about that one.
where they had to clear out protected Joshua trees to make way for the panels.
Yeah, not very solar punk, is it? Kind of clashes with that whole vision of tech and nature in harmony.
Totally. And there's more. Construction noise, dust, glare, disruption of wildlife habitats, all things to consider.
Definitely food for thought, for sure.
So if giant solar farms aren't the perfect answer, maybe rooftop solar is the way to go, right?
Yeah,
Utilizing existing infrastructure,
makes sense.
avoiding these land use conflicts.
And often bypassing a lot of that bureaucratic red tape.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Farrell talks about these interconnection queues, basically a huge backlog of renewable energy projects.
Waiting to get hooked up to the grid.
Exactly. And get this, the U.S. backlog is over 2.6 terawatts,
Whoa.
enough to power the whole country twice over.
Just sitting there in limbo.
Crazy, right? So rooftop solar could sidestep that mess because,
You're not adding strain to an already overloaded system. It's more like you generate it, you use it right there.
more plug and play.
Oh.
Okay, so let's get to the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
How much energy can we actually get from rooftop solar?
Well, as you might expect, it's not a simple answer. Farrell points out that researchers use these different potentials to estimate, like the physical potential, which is just the raw sunlight hitting our rooftops.
Right, the maximum possible.
Yeah, but then you have to factor in things like how efficient the panels are, any shading, the angle of the roof, all that.
So the actual usable energy is a lot less than that initial number.
For sure. And then you've got the economic potential to think about.
Which is?
Things like installation costs, government incentives, even public acceptance. All these factors play a role.
It's like a giant equation with so many variables.
It really is. But here's a case study Farrell highlights that gives a glimmer of hope. The Gangnam district in Seoul.
Oh, wow, Gangnam Style.
Haha, exactly. Their technical potential. So what they could realistically capture is only about 12% of that raw sunlight hitting the rooftops.
Okay.
But even with that, they could power a quarter of Seoul.
Wow, that's amazing. Shows you the potential that's just waiting to be tapped.
Big time.
And that's where we, as solarpunk enthusiasts, come in.
Absolutely. This is where things get really interesting. We're not just passively waiting for solutions.
Nope.
We're actively shaping the future, pushing for policies, starting community initiatives, raising awareness.
It's about taking those numbers, that potential, and turning it into a reality we can all be a part of.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And Farrell makes another intriguing point.
Okay, I'm listening.
He suggests that focusing solely on rooftop versus those huge solar farms might be too narrow a view. What if we go beyond the rooftops
I like where this is going.
and explore dual-use solar solutions?
Dual use meaning.
Integrating solar into existing spaces in a way that benefits everyone.
Oh, I think I get it. Like that agrivoltaics thing we mentioned before,
Exactly. Combining solar panels with agriculture.
where the panels actually help the crops grow
They
better.
can, yeah. They provide shade, reduce water evaporation, even attract pollinators.
Like a little solar-powered ecosystem.
Kinda, yeah. Win-win for energy and food security.
Love it. And it's not just agrivoltaics. Farrell also talks about solar grazing.
Oh yeah, the sheep and the solar panels.
Haha, exactly. Imagine flocks of sheep munching away around these solar arrays.
Keeping the vegetation trimmed.
Yeah, reducing maintenance costs and making it all look super picturesque.
Sustainable, practical, and just plain adorable.
Totally. And then there's photovoltaics.
Ah, yes, putting those panels on bodies of water.
From reservoirs to irrigation canals.
Imagine the Itaipu Dam in South America.
The huge dam, right?
Massive. They're looking at putting photovoltaics there, which could almost double the dam's energy output.
Wow, talk about thinking outside the box.
And on the water in this case. But the point is, the possibilities are huge.
My mind is already racing with ideas. Imagine entire communities powered by clean energy. Solar seamlessly integrated into the landscape.
That's the Solarpunk dream right there.
It really is. It's not just about the technology. It's about building a future that's both sustainable and beautiful.
And that's the beauty of this whole conversation. We're not just talking about numbers and kilowatt hours. We're talking about a vision of a future where technology works with nature, not against it.
Where communities are empowered to create their own energy solutions.
And where that clean energy future is not just some distant dream,
but a reality we're actively building. Right here, right now. So what does this all mean for you, dear listeners?
What role do you see yourself playing in this solarpunk energy revolution? Hit us up in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going.
We're all in this together, folks.
So we've been exploring this idea of rooftop solar as a pathway to a solarpunk future.
Right, and it's clear there's a huge potential there.
Huge, yeah. But it's not just about slapping panels on every roof we can find.
I'm sensing a but coming.
Yeah, haha, it's more nuanced than that. It's about a shift in our thinking, moving away from this idea of energy as something we passively consume.
Like from these faceless corporations.
Exactly, and towards a more, participatory model where we're all actively involved in creating and sharing clean energy.
It's like we become energy producers, not just consumers.
It is. It's about reclaiming our power, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I love that. So let's talk about the implications of that shift. What are some of the potential benefits? What's in it for us, for our communities, for the planet?
Well, one of the most obvious benefits is greater energy independence.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine households and businesses generating their own clean energy, reducing their reliance on those traditional utility companies.
Not being at the mercy of the grid.
Exactly, and becoming more resilient.
Like if there's a power outage?
Yeah, or price fluctuations, you're more in control.
It's like taking control of our energy destiny, right?
Precisely. And that empowerment goes beyond just individuals. Think about local job creation in the renewable energy sector.
That's a good point.
Installation, maintenance, manufacturing, these are all areas where we could see significant growth, especially in rural communities.
Creating more sustainable and resilient local economies.
Exactly. We're talking about a more equitable and sustainable economy, one rooted in clean energy and local empowerment. And it's not just jobs, it's about fostering a deeper sense of community ownership.
Communities taking charge of their energy future.
Right. Imagine neighbors coming together to install shared solar arrays, schools incorporating renewable energy into their curriculum.
Community gardens becoming energy hubs.
Yeah, it's about weaving clean energy into the very fabric of our communities.
Creating a shared sense of purpose and responsibility around energy.
Exactly. And that interconnectedness could even reshape our relationship with the grid.
How so?
Well, imagine a future where homes and businesses with solar panels aren't just consuming energy,
right,
but also feeding excess energy back into the grid.
Like becoming mini power plants.
Yeah, creating a more dynamic and resilient energy system that benefits everyone.
It's almost like flipping the script on the traditional energy model.
It is. Instead of relying on a centralized grid,
which can be vulnerable.
Very vulnerable. We're creating a more distributed, decentralized system.
One that can adapt and respond to changing conditions.
Exactly. And that adaptability is crucial as we face those growing challenges of climate change and resource scarcity.
Makes sense. A more localized system can help us reduce our reliance on fossil fuels.
Absolutely. Decrease greenhouse gas emissions.
And build more resilient communities that are better equipped to handle the uncertainties of the future.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It sounds amazing, almost too good to be true.
It does. But surely there must be some challenges, right? Some roadblocks to overcome as we make this transition.
Oh, for sure. As with any paradigm shift.
There's always pushback.
There will be. We're likely to see it from those who benefit from the status quo,
Like the traditional utility companies.
Definitely. They're used to controlling the flow of energy.
And they've got a lot to lose if things change.
Do they ever? And policymakers.
Some of whom are still very much beholden to fossil fuel interest.
Unfortunately, yeah. It's the classic battle between the old guard and the new.
The forces of change versus those who cling to the past.
Exactly. And then there's the potential for enemyism.
Not in my backyard.
Yep. People who might be resistant to change, worried about how solar panels will look in their neighborhoods.
Or the perceived disruptions that come with installing them.
That's understandable. It's all new territory for a lot of folks.
It is, and I think that highlights the need for education and dialogue, right?
Absolutely. We need to help people understand the benefits of solar, both for themselves and the planet.
And address their concerns in a way that's respectful and inclusive.
Building bridges, not walls.
Exactly. And it's important to remember, this transition isn't just about technology.
It's about people.
It's about communities coming together.
Creating a shared vision of a future that's both sustainable and just, and working together to make that vision a reality.
And that's where you, our listeners, come in.
You're the pioneers, the change makers who are already leading the way.
So we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this decentralized solar vision? What excites you? What concerns you?
What role do you see yourself playing in this energy revolution? Jump into the comments. Let's keep this conversation going.
Because this is a conversation we need to have, folks.
Yeah.
The future of energy is in our hands, and it's time to get to work.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone. As we wrap up our exploration of rooftop solar and the possibilities of a decentralized energy future, it's time to turn our attention to the how. We've talked about the potential.
Right, the what and the why.
Exactly, but now the question is, how do we actually make this vision a reality? It's one thing to dream about solar-punk cities.
Right, but how do we actually build them?
Exactly. And like any construction project, it's going to take a whole team of skilled workers, each bringing their expertise to the table. We're going to need engineers to design those efficient solar systems, policymakers to craft regulations that actually support clean energy.
Oh yeah, got to get the policy right.
For sure. Educators to help people understand the benefits of solar, entrepreneurs to come up with creative financing models.
And we can't forget the artists and storytellers. They're the ones who can capture our imaginations and inspire us with visions of a solar-punk future.
Absolutely. A future that's not just functional, but also beautiful, vibrant, joyful. It's about creating a narrative that resonates with people on an emotional level.
Reaching hearts and minds.
Exactly. A narrative that shows the potential of solar to not just power our homes and businesses, but transform our communities and our way of life. And that transformation goes beyond the technical aspects, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It's about changing our values, our priorities, how we understand what it means to live sustainably in an interconnected world.
It's about embracing that solar-punk ethos, that collaboration.
Resilience, innovation.
Yeah, and applying those principles to every aspect of our lives. Recognizing that we're all connected, our actions have a ripple effect.
So what does all of this mean for you, our listeners? How do you see yourself contributing to this solar-punk revolution? Are you ready to roll up your sleeves and get involved?
Maybe you're a homeowner thinking about putting solar panels on your roof.
Maybe you're a student passionate about clean energy.
Maybe you're an artist or a writer, someone who wants to use their creative talents to inspire others to paint that picture of a solar-punk future.
Whatever your skills are, your passions, there's a role for you in this movement. The solar-punk revolution, it's a collective effort. It's going to take all of us working together to make it a reality.
So we want to hear from you. What excites you about this vision? What are your concerns? What actions are you taking or planning to take to make it real in your own life and community?
Share your thoughts, your ideas in the comments. Let's create a space where we can learn from each other, inspire each other, and support each other on this journey towards a brighter, more sustainable future.
A future powered by the sun, driven by the ingenuity and passion of a community dedicated to building a better world. This deep dive, it's been an incredible exploration of the potential of rooftop solar.
And the possibilities of that decentralized energy future we're all striving for.
But it's just the beginning of the conversation. Now it's up to all of us to take this knowledge, this inspiration, and turn it into action. Let's embrace that solar-punk spirit.
Harness the power of the sun.
And build a world where clean energy is abundant, accessible, and a source of empowerment for everyone. Thanks for joining us on this adventure.
Keep shining bright, keep those ideas flowing, and let's keep building that solar-punk future together. One rooftop, one community, one innovative solution at a time.
If you enjoyed this episode of The Solar Age, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you won't miss any future episodes. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below about what resonated with you or share any ideas you'd like us to explore in upcoming episodes. Let's keep the conversation about a brighter future going.